So you probably all studied something about the hierarchy of inborn needs and the famous Maslow pyramid. So that was in 1945. The reason that motivation is so important in business and in education, every teacher, my parents were both teachers, I'm a professor, I come from a family of teachers, every teacher wants to know how to motivate their students. This was something Maslow, he was a professor his whole life, except for a few years where he worked for a family business. But every teacher wants to know how to motivate students. Most students don't work to their full potential. I like to believe that because my parents encouraged me and guided me, that I've been able to work close to my full potential, both as a student and as a professor and as a psychologist. So I think this makes sense to all of you. Self-motivation becomes very important too. If you as college students know how to motivate yourselves, you'll do better in school. The best students know how to motivate themselves. So some students are smart, they don't do well in school because they don't know how to motivate themselves. I think we all can understand that. All of you have been students, all of you have been students, you've all been in classrooms. And in business, this is also true. One of the most important questions for managers and organizations is how to motivate employees. How do you motivate people to work hard and to be creative? Not only to work hard, but to be productive and creative. And this is a question all over the world today. We live in a global economy. You all know that. You're competing against Chinese companies now, Korean companies. In my country, we're competing against European companies. It's a global economy, and it's never going to go back to what it was before. So, and everyone uses the same technology. I travel all over. You go to Brazil, you go to Japan, you go to Germany. They're all using Windows. They're all using Microsoft software, and they're all using the same hardware. HP, Compaq, Apple. So the question is, what makes one company more successful than another in the global economy cannot be the software, because everyone's using the same software. It cannot be the hardware. Everyone is using the same hardware. The difference then becomes in how to motivate employees. In some countries like the United States, we're very good at that. This is why at this point Americans are considered the most productive workers in the world. They know how to use the time very well. They're very efficient. Japanese are also very efficient, very productive. And this is, in the coming years, those of you who are going into business, this question will become more and more important. The only way an organization can get a competitive edge now will be on management, how you manage people, because the technology is the same all over the world. You want to, maybe they understand.
今のところ大丈夫ですか？大丈夫。
Okay, I understand. Okay,
Okay.
I'll try to speak slowly also to help you, of course. So this is why this topic is very important, the topic of employee motivation. How do you motivate people? Now, I can tell you there's no magic that exists. Every few months, psychologists like myself, management consultants, sometimes present a new technique or a new concept, and it's very popular, but there's no magic. People are the same all over the world, And I don't think there's any way that I can give you something that'll change every way people study as students or every way people work. But I can give you today a history of Maslow's concepts and help us to understand for the future some of the questions about employee motivation. I'm one of the few people who's developing ways to measure employee motivation based on Maslow's concept, and I'll talk about that also. Okay. What makes Maslow interesting is that he came from a business family. Many of the intellectuals in the United States were anti-business. They were anti-capitalist. They believed in socialism would be the best way for the society. Maslow was different because he came from a family business. It was called the Maslow cooperage. I'm sure the word cooperage isn't in your electronic dictionaries. Because it's almost obsolete. This was a company that repaired wooden barrels. Back then, there were companies that made wine, and the wine was stored in wooden barrels. Now I don't think they use wood anymore. And Maslow's family made a lot of money setting up branches in different places in the United States where they would repair these barrels that were used by winemaking companies and other companies. So for a few years in the 1940s, Maslow left college teaching. He had heart problems, and it was too tiring for him to be up standing here for hours and hours to lecture. It's very tiring. You can ask your professors to be on your feet and concentrating. I can do this for an hour, 2 hours, but I'm tired after 2 hours. Some professors have to do this 3-4 hours a day, every day. So Maslow's heart was weak at that point. He was a very young man. He was born in 1908. So he was only 37 years old, but it seems he had a weak heart. So he worked with the family business for a few years, and that was his exposure to business. I found he was very good in sales. To be a good salesperson, you need to be an extrovert. It is, you have to be outgoing, very friendly, talk to people, smile, and he was very good at that. He was very outgoing. People liked him, his personality. And also he did some management. One of the things that was important to him was to develop a reputation for honesty. That even if the company charged more money, people knew that they were completely honest. And if there was a problem with the product, they could bring it in and it would be fixed for no charge. So he felt it was very important to develop what we call integrity. He used to suggest that one way that young people could go into business would be to choose a field that's known for dishonesty. For instance, in the United States, it's selling used cars. Or in general, when you bring your car in for repairs, often you get a bill that you didn't expect. They do things that you didn't ask for, and now there are laws against that. They have to call you and ask for permission. But Maslow said, choose a field that's known for dishonesty and be a completely honest person, and then you can make a lot of money. You'll be very successful. So he liked business, but he liked college teaching more. He loved teaching. He loved to see students learn. And he went back to college teaching then when his heart condition became better in the late 1940s.